We love it here.
When can we go back?
Welcome back to Lake George this week. I'm your host, Jim Mullen, and this is our New Year's Extravaganza. We're closing out 2024 with a bang. And by bang, I mean fireworks. You know, music, comedy, and probably somebody trying to bowl their way into the new year. But before we dive in for the frosty fun, I want to thank you for sticking with us all season. Whether you're here for a local tip or, you're here for the misadventures, I'm glad you're here. And speaking of misadventures, New Year's Eve in Times Square, New York City. Let me tell you about the time I rang in the new year in New York City, Times Square. I had a buddy, Mike the cop, and he was stationed down there at Times Square. I figured I'd go hang out down there and be safe because I'd be standing next to my friend the cop. First off, it was cold in the Lake George Polar Plunge, and I was crammed shoulder to shoulder with millions of people. And let me just say, there's nothing like trying to have to pee in the cold, being shoulder to shoulder with millions of people and having nowhere to go. When the ball finally dropped, I figured I could get the hell out of there. But oh no, the crowd had a different idea. You couldn't move, you couldn't get anywhere. You had to wait for the crowd to dissipate. It was like herding cats, chaotic, loud, and someone definitely stepped on my foot. Mike, of course, was busy doing cop stuff, directing the crowd, and taking selfies with drunken women in Times Square. Meanwhile, I was just trying to survive in the crowd. Moral of the story, Lake George is more my speed. Less chaos, more charm.
Hey! It's time for the local spotlight.
The local business spotlight to end up this year is 2024 is, of course, the Barber Parlor. Jamie is the owner of the Barber Parlor and the artist extraordinaire. She does my hair every 2 weeks, looking pretty good. I'll be there at the end of next week getting my hair cut again. Jamie can make you look so sharp you can cut through 2024's resolutions like butter. And she doesn't just give haircuts; she gives you an experience. Okay. Whether you're going for a classic look or trying something bold, Jamie's got the skills to make it happen. And if you need a last-minute trim to impress at one of the events we're going to talk about in a few minutes, Jamie's your go-to. Just let her know that Jim sent you. Because I get better looking every day, and Jamie keeps up with it and keeps me podcast ready every week.
And now, the local spotlight.
This is Lake George this week, and this is your go-to guide for everything happening in the area, from events to local businesses to my not-so-glamorous life stories. I'm Jim Mullen, content creator, podcaster, and your weekly host. Let's dive into what Lake George has to offer this week. New Year's Eve. Man, we've got a lot of things this week. No, Lake George has more New Year's events than I have resolutions to break. Here's the lineup. The Frostbite Cruise, okay, ring in the new year with the boat ride. So cool, it's literally freezing. Nothing says new beginnings like a scenic cruise with a hot drink in hand. Okay, now this is 2025 New Year's Day Frostbite Cruise, the 38th annual Frostbite Cruise. Kick off the new year with the 1.5 hour cruise, 12 p.m. and there's one at 12 p.m., one at 2:30 p.m. Wednesday, January 1st. Lake George Waterfront Cruises to Kersakaw Lane, Lake George. There's a phone number, 518-668-4644. $50 for adults, $40 for youth between 12 and 20, $20 for kids 2 to 11. And it's hosted by the Waterfront Cruises, formerly the Shoreline Cruises, okay? If you like to take a nice cruise, lake's not frozen yet. The next thing we got is the Adirondack Pub and Brewery's New Year's celebration. Great beer, live music, and the kind of food that makes you forget about all those resolutions. Let's see where it's at. It's at the Adirondack Pub and Brewery. It's at 33 Canada Street, and it's hosted by the Adirondack Pub and Brewery. Open 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. New Year's Day. Lunch is served. Open 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. New Year's Eve. All-inclusive dinner for 2 at the brewery. And, give that a check out on New Year's Eve. Family New Year's Eve party at Kingpin Alley Family Fun Center. Okay, bowling party at the Lake George Lanes and Games. The only time rolling a ball and knocking things down is encouraged on New Year's Eve. Okay, Kingpin Alley has 2 time slots to choose from for family parties, and they both offer some great deals. Party from 5 to 7 and from 7:30 to 9:30. You get unlimited bowling for 2 hours, shoe rental, large cheese pizza, pitcher of soda, party favors, light show, great music, music videos along, games and prizes, and all wraps up with a mock countdown to the toast of the new year. So at the end of the party, they're going to do a countdown to the new year. All right. And that's at the Kingpin's Alley. This year, you also get $20 in arcade cards per lane. We strongly suggest that you book your lane early, as these parties tend to sell out. Payment in full is required at time of booking. $94.95 per lane, up to 6 people per lane. So you can bring 6 people for $94.95 and have all of those perks. Okay, please be sure to visit the website Kingpin SouthGlensFalls.com /our-events/new-year-eve-2025 / okay, check that out. Kingpin Alley of South Glens Falls. So 166 Saratoga Avenue in South Glens Falls. Okay. New Year's Eve dinner and a comedy show. Laugh your way into the new year, because why cry over spilled champagne when you can die from laughter? In partnership with the Park Street Hospitality, the Park Theater Foundation presents New Year's Eve dinner and comedy show featuring performance by highly acclaimed comedian Sean Donnelly. All right. That's going to be Tuesday, December 31st, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Park Theater, 14 Park Street, Glens Falls. $99 per person. 6 p.m. doors open, 7 p.m. is dinner, and 8 p.m. is showtime. Let's see what this says. It'll include a 3-course dinner by Park Street Hospitality Executive Chef Matthew D. Delos. In partnership, I already mentioned that, but boom, tickets are $99. Fort William Henry is having New Year's Eve at the Fort William Henry Hotel. Celebrate the new year with Fort William Henry. Join us for a high-energy, request-driven rock and roll sing-along experience with Savage pianos in our newly renovated carriage house. Okay, it's gonna be music, food, and fun. Dueling pianos experience featuring the incredible Savage pianos in the carriage house. Get ready for high-energy, request-driven rock and roll sing-along that will have you singing your heart out and dancing the night away. This renowned performers are world-class entertainers known for their unmatched talent, deep repertoire, and lively personalities. Okay, a lot of fun. You're going to be dancing the night away. Dueling pianos is great stuff. Bring your best requests and your dancing shoes, because this is going to be one unforgettable party. What's included is a fantastic selection of hors d'oeuvres hors d'oeuvres to enjoy throughout the night. Enjoy fresh, made-to-order pasta from our live pasta station. Okay, and a drink ticket for each guest to redeem for a drink of your choice. Don't miss out on this evening New Year's Eve bash. Celebrate with style. Okay, there you go. Reservations larger than 8 guests, please email Courtney M at fortwilliamhenry.com. Okay. And again, that's $99 a person, and that's at 48 Canada Street, Lake George, New York, at the Fort William Henry Hotel. Okay, the next thing is where I'm going to be New Year's Eve, and that's the New Year's Eve bash at the Grateful Den in Glens Falls. That's because Seas Atlantis is playing there, and that's my son's band, and Seas Atlantis is going to blow the doors off. Let's see what it says here about them. Ring in 2025 at the Grateful Den with Seas Atlantis. Now, Grateful Den is a great place to hang out. Their food is great. Their service is great. They're really a great bunch of people there. You're going to really enjoy it. Come on down. It's really going to be packed, and I'm telling you, Seas Atlantis blows the doors off the place. That's Tuesday, December 31st from 8 p.m. to 11:59 p.m., where we're going to ring in the new year. The Grateful Den is at 56 Hudson Avenue in Glens Falls. Come on down and party. That's where I'm going to be. Okay, the next thing we got going on is the New Year's celebration at the Q. This is at the Queensbury Hotel. Ring in the new year at the Queensbury Hotel. There are 2 ways to celebrate. Dine at Park 26 for a special 5-course dinner that's sure to impress, or party in the ballroom. Okay, ring in the new year at Queensbury Hotel. Party in the ballroom as Soul Session makes their return to the Q. Dance the night away while watching the ball drop. Park 26 dinner starts at 7 p.m. and includes a 2-hour open bar. The NYE celebration, New Year's Eve celebration in the Adirondack Ballroom starts at 9 p.m. and includes a 3-hour open bar, light snacks, photo booth, and live entertainment from Garland, Nielsen, and Soul Session. Let's see. General admission is $85 per person, $115 for the package for guaranteed seating in Adirondack Ballroom, and that's at Queensbury Hotel, 88 Ridge Street in Glens Falls. There's a phone number, 518-792-1121. All right, check that out, and that's from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. on New Year's Eve at the Q. Hark's New Year's Eve band, live music and good vibes. Hark's knows how to throw a party. Tuesday, December 31st, we say goodbye to 2024 in the Capital District's favorite band, Hark. Okay? Yeah, you come see Hark. That's 10 p.m., Tuesday, December 31st, Lake George Beach Club, 3 Lower Mount Calm Street in Lake George, down by the beach. That's 800, phone number is 800-691-0770. All right. And that's at the Lake George Beach Club. You're going to see Hark, the renowned Capital District's favorite band, Hark. Now, after you're done partying, we all know where you want to go. 2024 New Year's Day, Lake George, Polar Plunge. Hundreds gather on the frosty shores of Lake George for a daring New Year's Day swim known as the Polar Plunge. Typically about 1,000 people jump into the lake. Can you imagine? Don't forget, pack a towel and water shoes. Wear your swimsuit under your clothes. Bring easy to get into warm clothes and shoes for after the plunge. For your own safety, never dive into the water. Bring a plastic bag for wet clothes and somewhere to store your dry clothes. Bring us along a disposable waterproof camera. Have fun. Call Duffy's. Contact Duffy's Tavern at 518-668-5323 for more info. And Duffy's, contact me. Let me know. I'd love to get you guys involved in the podcast and start, posting the bands that you guys got there. So let me know, Duffy's. And of course, there's always a way to email us. If you go to lakegeorgethisweek.com, there's a way to email us there. Okay.
It's tool time with Jim.
Hey, it's tool time with Jim, and this week is Go Brunch. Go Brunch, if you've been listening, I love finding tools to bring to you, make your life easier, and Go Brunch is no exception. It's a Zoom on steroids. It's an online meeting platform that actually feels fun and interactive. Imagine Zoom and a virtual coffee shop together. Perfect for hosting meetings or even planning a New Year's virtual get-together. I've talked about it before, but if you haven't checked it out, give it a shot. Your meetings will thank you. You can customize Go Brunch to your logo, to your company colors, to your company backgrounds. You can change the backgrounds of the rooms. You can have breakout rooms. You can have multiple rooms. You can have paid rooms. You can have like a closed door where people can pay to get access to your time, or have paid meetings or webinars or classes or instructions or something like that where you needed a paid club. And Go Brunch has all of that for you. I'll leave a link in the show notes for you. Hey, if you've enjoyed this episode, please share the podcast with your friends and family. We like to grow the podcast, and sharing is caring. It's the best way to help the podcast grow is to share it with a couple of friends. Follow and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes yourself. Stay up to date on everything going on in Lake George, and don't forget to leave us a review. It makes more people discover our little corner of the podcast world. As we wrap up 2024, I want to thank you for tuning in each week. It's been an amazing season. I can't wait to kick off season 2 with even more stories, events, and maybe even some more misadventures. Next week, we're going to talk about some resolutions, local winter activities, and what's ahead for Lake George in 2025. Until then, have a safe and happy New Year. Cheers, 2025. Hey, if you're a local business or a local organization and you have an event or would like to sponsor the podcast or otherwise want to be involved in the podcast, get yourself out there, you can go to lakegeorgethisweek.com, send me an email. I'd be glad to answer you. We can figure out, also looking to interview interesting people in the area, local businessmen that are doing good things in the area. If you know anybody that's doing good things in the area that you'd like to showcase them on the podcast, be my guest. Let me know. Let us know about it on the podcast so I can bring it out there. And don't forget to share the podcast with your friends. See you next week. Hey, if you've loved this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, your family, and anyone you know who loves Lake George. Hit the subscribe button, follow us, and leave us a review. Let's grow together.